They say love is like a fire, it needs fuel to keep burning. But what happens when the flames start to fade? Relationships don't fall apart overnight. The cracks appear slowly, subtly, until one day, you wake up feeling like strangers. If you're feeling disconnected, frustrated, or just off in your relationship, it might be time for a serious reality check. In this video, we'll reveal 10 undeniable signs that your relationship needs work, and more importantly, what you can do to fix it before it's too late. So, grab a seat, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. Because the future of your relationship could depend on what you learn today. 1. Communication has become difficult. They say communication is the foundation of any strong relationship, but what happens when every conversation feels like walking through a minefield? When simple discussions turn into misunderstandings, when silence feels safer than speaking up, and when you hesitate before sharing your thoughts because you're afraid of the reaction, it's a sign that something is off. Maybe your words are met with defensiveness instead of understanding, or every attempt at expressing yourself turns into an argument. Perhaps you've stopped talking about your deeper feelings altogether, keeping your thoughts locked away because it's easier than facing conflict. Over time, this lack of open, honest communication can create an emotional distance that's hard to bridge. When you no longer feel heard, valued, or safe expressing yourself, the connection between you and your partner weakens. The question is, are you still talking to each other, or just talking past each other? 2. You feel emotionally distant. You can be physically close to someone, sitting on the same couch, sharing a meal, or even lying side by side in bed, yet feel like there's an invisible wall between you. Conversations become transactional rather than meaningful, limited to, "Did you take out the trash?" or "What's for dinner?" instead of deep, heartfelt exchanges. If your relationship feels more like a routine than a romance, with more silence than shared laughter, it's a sign that emotional intimacy is fading. You and your partner may be physically present but emotionally absent, as if you're living parallel lives instead of truly connecting. When the warmth of companionship turns into the chill of distance, it's time to ask yourself, are we growing together, or are we slowly drifting apart? 3. Constant arguments over small things. It's not always the big, explosive fights that erode a relationship, it's the relentless, day-to-day battles over the smallest details. The toothpaste cap left off, the dishes in the sink, the way they chew their food, suddenly, every little thing feels like a reason to argue. At first, these disagreements might seem trivial, but over time, they build up like tiny cracks in a foundation, weakening the connection between you. What starts as playful teasing turns into sharp remarks. Eye rolls replace laughter. Simple conversations escalate into tense standoffs, and before you know it, you're not arguing about the dishes anymore, you're arguing about respect, effort, and whether your partner truly cares. When small frustrations turn into daily battles, it's often a sign of deeper issues simmering beneath the surface. It's not really about the laundry left on the floor, it's about feeling unappreciated. It's not just about who forgot to buy milk, it's about feeling unheard. If every interaction feels like a tug-of-war, it's time to ask yourself, are we fighting for the relationship, or are we fighting against each other? 4. Lack of appreciation or gratitude. The slow death of a relationship doesn't always come from grand betrayals or explosive fights, it often begins with something much quieter, the absence of appreciation. When "thank you" becomes rare, when small acts of kindness go unnoticed, and when efforts are taken for granted, the warmth between two people starts to fade. At the start of a relationship, appreciation flows effortlessly. You notice the little things, how they make your coffee just the way you like it or send a sweet text in the middle of the day. But over time, familiarity can lead to complacency. The things you once cherished become expectations, and the gratitude that once strengthened your bond starts to disappear. When you stop feeling valued, resentment begins to take its place. You start to wonder if your efforts even matter. A lack of appreciation isn't just about forgetting to say, "thank you," it's about forgetting to see each other. And when that happens, love doesn't necessarily vanish overnight, but it does begin to quietly slip away. 5. You avoid spending time together. Think back to when you first fell for each other, when every moment together felt exciting, and no amount of time ever seemed like enough. Now, fast forward to the present. Do you find yourself making excuses to stay late at work? Do you prefer scrolling on your phone rather than engaging in conversation? Does the idea of a date night feel like an obligation rather than something to look forward to? When couples start avoiding quality time together, it's often a sign that the emotional connection is fading. Maybe the spark has dimmed, or being in each other's presence feels more draining than fulfilling. What used to be effortless now takes effort, and instead of cherishing shared moments, you find yourself craving space. Love doesn't just disappear in an instant, it fades when time together is replaced with time apart. If you no longer seek each other out, if silence fills the gaps where laughter once lived, it may be time to ask yourself, are we growing together, or simply growing apart? 6. There's no longer a sense of partnership. A strong relationship isn't just about love, it's about teamwork. It's about knowing that, no matter what life throws your way, you have someone by your side, sharing the load. But what happens when that balance shifts? When one person is carrying all the emotional weight while the other coasts along? When one partner is constantly making sacrifices while the other takes them for granted? Over time, this imbalance breeds frustration and resentment. The person doing all the heavy lifting, whether emotionally, financially, or in daily responsibilities, starts to feel drained, unappreciated, and alone. Meanwhile, the other may not even realize the burden they're placing on their partner, assuming everything is fine simply because things are getting done. A healthy relationship isn't about keeping score, but it is about mutual effort. If you feel like you're in a one-sided partnership, where your needs, struggles, or contributions go unnoticed, it's a sign that something is off. Love should feel like a team, not a solo mission. The question is, are you still working together, or are you just coexisting? 7. Physical intimacy has declined. Let's be real, physical touch isn't just about passion, it's about connection. A gentle kiss, a warm hug, the reassuring squeeze of a hand, these small gestures create a sense of closeness that words alone can't replace. But when the physical side of your relationship starts to fade, it often signals a deeper emotional distance. Maybe the lingering touches have become quick and routine. Maybe goodnight kisses have turned into a simple nod before rolling over in bed. Perhaps intimacy feels more like an obligation than a genuine desire. Over time, what once felt natural and effortless can begin to feel awkward, distant, or even non-existent. A decline in physical affection isn't just about sex, it's about the loss of everyday moments that make you feel loved and connected. When hugs are replaced by hesitation and physical distance grows, so does emotional detachment. The question is, has the spark faded temporarily, or is it slowly burning out for good? 8. Negative energy outweighs the positive. A relationship should be your refuge, a place where you feel supported, valued, and at ease. But when tension, frustration, and negativity start to overshadow the joy, something is deeply wrong. Do your conversations feel more like arguments than heart-to-hearts? Do you brace yourself before bringing up even small concerns, expecting conflict? Is there more criticism than kindness, more eye rolls than laughter? When the bad days start to outnumber the good ones, the foundation of your relationship weakens. Every couple faces challenges, but love should never feel like an uphill battle every single day. If being together feels exhausting rather than fulfilling, it's time to ask yourself, is this relationship lifting me up, or is it dragging me down? 9. No shared future goals. Couples who grow together, stay together. A strong relationship isn't just about enjoying the present, it's about building a future side by side. But what happens when your visions no longer align? When the dreams you once shared start pulling you in different directions? Maybe one of you is ready to settle down while the other still craves adventure. Perhaps you're focused on career growth while your partner prioritizes a different path. Or maybe big decisions, like where to live, whether to have kids, or how to handle finances, have become sources of conflict rather than collaboration. When two people stop moving in the same direction, the distance between them grows. It's not always about love fading, sometimes, it's about realizing that your paths are no longer meant to run parallel. The question is, are you still building a life together, or are you just existing side by side? 10. You feel stuck. Relationships are meant to grow, evolve, and deepen over time. But what if yours feels like it's stuck on repeat, trapped in the same cycle of unresolved arguments, unspoken tensions, and routines that no longer bring joy? Maybe every conversation feels like déjà vu, with the same frustrations resurfacing again and again. Perhaps there's no excitement, no progress, no sense of moving forward, just the weight of stagnation settling in. Instead of feeling inspired by your relationship, you feel drained by its predictability. When love starts to feel like a loop you can't break, it's a sign that something needs to change. Whether it's a lack of communication, emotional distance, or simply growing apart, feeling stuck isn't just frustrating, it's a warning. The real question is, are you willing to shake things up and fight for growth, or is it time to step back and reassess what you truly need? Here's the truth, no relationship is perfect. But the strongest ones are built by two people willing to fight for it, willing to grow, to listen, to adapt. If you recognized any of these signs, don't panic. You have the power to turn things around. Start today. Start now. And remember, love isn't just something you feel, it's something you build. Drop a comment below, which of these signs resonated with you the most? Let's start the conversation. And if you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more relationship wisdom. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Until next time, keep loving, keep growing, and keep building the relationship you deserve.